friends, here we go. I kind of have a chore to do today. It's the most enjoyable one, though. At least I hope so. And here's the deal. So I meant to finish this earlier, but I am putting together a provisional database for the model cohort games. Provisional because I hope eventually it's user created. But at the moment, we just need 5 amazingly annotated games from each cohort. So, as an example, today I haven't yet filled out the cohort from 11 to 12. So I have 1 game, and I'm going to do 4 more from that cohort. And it should be fun. We're just going to look at some games from that cohort, and hopefully, if people are watching, it will give a sense of what a well-annotated game looks like. So here we go. Scoreboard. 11 to 12. Pop. Oh, excuse me. Wrong way to go, buddy. Games. And if it says unauthorized, you just refresh, bows. You just refresh. And here we go. So 11 to 12. Pop. Search. Okay, let's beta test upload. All right, no, that's only 4 moves. We're not going to click on that thing. Let's click on Nate. All right, so what am I looking for? I'm looking for words. I'm looking for evaluations. I'm looking for variations. So just optically, this one is pretty good, but has no variations. But let's go into it. Okay. So what I like about this is that Nate, is not doing this from a theoretical perspective. He's just playing principled moves. And then he doesn't know if the queen out early is a good thing. And I can say, it's great. It's great because your queen can't be readily attacked. If knight c6 could come here, it wouldn't be so hot. All right, by the way, everybody, I am going to be slacking a little bit and looking at the chat because I'm going to be focused on these games. So I like this annotation. We could definitely be talking more about these moves. Like, what was h6 about? What was c4 necessary? Yeah, and it's interesting. Okay, I'm gonna say this is good, but it doesn't qualify for like one of the best. Okay, because only if it's a really well annotated game, you're gonna get in the database. It's a special thing to be nominated for the database. Now this is white is the annotator. Now one weird problem we're having is when we get these like $ stuff, it's like me and Jack were trying to figure this out the other day. Okay, this is fine. This is fine. Good. Now, one of the great things about the dojo is I've partially convinced most of the players at this level not to study openings. So you're getting a lot of players like Quad here who are just playing good moves. And I can tell you, this is all theory so far. I don't think he knows it's theory, but that's okay. He's just playing good developing moves. Okay. Let's read what dude says. I think I'm a little ahead here, positional and development. I have a C pawn for a D pawn, pawn in the center, horse to C6. Okay. Blocking a C pawn for the push. Good. A3. Let's see what he says about that. Okay. Now, I don't like it, of course. You knew that already about me. You know that I want to play e4. And black in this position needs to play e5 immediately, right? Doesn't understand the danger, plays a6. b4. What does black need to do? e5 immediately. So actually, it's kind of just instructive for us to watch that black doesn't understand that they've got to release the Kraken here with e5. All right, I'll go check on chat before somebody yells at me. Where am I? Okay, good. I promise I'm going to check in on chat every once in a while. 97. This loss of time. No one knows. Good move. I like that. Wow. Okay. That's a good move. Now we got him. All right. This is pretty good. It's pretty good. I've considered this one to add to the database, but I especially want reflection when they give away time, when we give away time. But this is pretty good. This is pretty good. I might add this one to the list. Okay. Let's see. Let's get a list going, buddy. I might come back to this one. My experience is that in general, the games that you find here on the database are really good. Like this one is very solid. And so then it's like, well, which ones are super special? I often find some. Let's do another one. This is Nate. I believe we had Nate on recently. Also, it's good if I see time stamps. Yeah, we hung a bishop. We hung it. I know what you were thinking. You were terrified of him cracking your center. And so you figured that was the only way, and then pop. Bummer. Now somehow you won this game. How did that happen, Bows? How did you win this thing, man? There we go. All right. There we go. We're asking him some questions. Get out of here, son. Get out of here. Uh-oh. I don't know how you won this thing, man. Get in there. Get in there. Ooh. Okay. That was pretty good annotations. So let's just say something obvious. At this level, dog, you hang a piece in the opening. It's not time to resign yet. Not time yet. All right, let's look at this one. This is Charlie. All right. Here we got some timestamps. I made a video yesterday. It's not out yet. About people moving too fast. So this will be an interesting thing. We're going to see how fast people will move in here. It looks like it's just straight up game 60. So, for example, this is a known move order problem where white knight f6 basically shuts down this attempt to go to the Smith-Morra. Okay? But black took instantly. And now I have a traditional Smith-Morra. This is all theory schmeary, and normally here e5 is the move. This is maybe playable. Yeah, this is an interesting position. The general problem with this move will be a rook should land on c1, and white can do a couple moves here. The most natural would be bishop g5, kind of creating that threat. And let's say a variation could be here, 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 and now we're going to threaten knight d5. So that looks like, just off the top of my head, the way to play. The problem is queen b8, it looks funny, but it's not necessarily a bad square. And here, in addition to e5, it might, I want to stress, might be possible to play knight e5 as well. Okay, so dude did think for a little bit in that position. Okay. Yeah, now we got ourselves a nice position. Okay. Okay, so look, here we got this fascinating position, and white plays bishop d5, but bows. Bows. Well, we gotta think about it. We gotta think about this position, man. I assume you're afraid of bishop h3 or something. If we're going to play bishop d5, then we should have done it last move, right? So here's an example of where in the game and in your analysis, you should definitely be thinking about other options. So for example, knight d5. Let's look at bishop h3. Is this a scary pin? Yes, it is, but let's carry on. Knight d4. Well, maybe I just take it. And do I know exactly what's going on? No, I don't. But this is an interesting position for us. We have knight c7. We might have rook c7. You know, the party's just starting over here. We might have h3. h3 looks kind of weird, but it makes some sense. A beautiful position for white. Okay, so good. Let's keep going. I think we're Timothy here. This is B-Pow. Am I right in B-Pow's in chat? Did I see B-Pow earlier? Yeah, B-Pow is here. So we're going to look at one of B-Pow's games. So again, I'm just going to review. I'm reviewing several games from 1100 to 1200. I want to find 4 games that are really well annotated to put them into the Dojo database. I'm going to take my time doing it. I'm going to enjoy it. I'm going to enjoy it. Thank you very much. Okay, so here we go. This is B-Pow. And it's a little bit unclear if P-Pow is Timothy or Brett. But let's look. Twin Knights. This is all fine. And now we have to ask what would happen with bishop takes c6. And you kind of do here. Now it would be good to get some variations. Oh, that's interesting. So bishop e7 might be in fact playable. This is an ancient position, goes back hundreds of years. I'm going to guess that bishop c5 is playable, bishop b4 is playable, d6 is playable, and bishop e7 is probably is playable. All right, castles. And now it's definitely suspicious. We're definitely like, oh, we're getting close to like hanging that pawn. But it still looks okay. d6, okay. Now, one thing I just want to say is this is a great position to have some experience in because it might look boring, but there's in fact a lot going on. And you played h3. I would say, of course, you could consider d4. You could even consider bishop takes c6. But I do have some sympathy for h3. And we're actually looking from black's perspective here. Okay, and you play bishop d7. Fine. Fine. I like that a lot. Now just develop. You're doing fine. Notice you're a little cramped, but it's not easy to figure out what to do for white. There's some classic games here as well, positions like this, where white takes and we recapture this way with the idea of dominating the knight. So that's a thing as well. White decides to go for it. And here you need to make a choice between rook e8 and de. You played knight takes d4. Okay. Now, one thing I want you to see about this knight takes d4 is that the reason I think you're doing it is you're afraid of the double pawns on c6. So what do I mean? Like, let's say you take once and dude recaptures, and we play rook e8. And I don't know, let's say they do this to you. Totally playable position for us, right? Because this pawn is killing this knight, and we'll play something like bishop f8 next. Okay, so I think it's a pawns or people thing, right? And now you say, well, all right, pop, pop. And this isn't horrendous. In fact, I've seen games go quite like this. And now f4, it'd be nice if we got a question move, Mark, a question move for that f4. Definitely incorrect. Why? Because it's killing their bishop, and they need to now start thinking about their life. They better start thinking about their life. So candidate moves would be bishop f4, maybe c4. But definitely white should consider moving bishop f4. Now, it's hectic still, because imagine bishop f4, bishop f6, and then let's try something like queen c4. You got to analyze bishop b2, and now both rook b1 and rook d1 we can analyze. But in any case, this move f4 is poor, and we should say something about it. It's good to recognize, just like, that ain't it. That ain't it, Bows. That ain't it. Okay, so f4, c5. Don't like it. You're giving up the d5 square. Candidate moves here could be rook e8, bishop f6, a6, knight c5, right? Bishop f6 has got to be said as to be the most natural of those, but rook e8 is very similar. Let me go look at his chat so they don't get mad at me. Actually, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to do something a little different. I'm going to... No, I can't change windows. The boomer in me won't let me change windows because it won't work out too good. MG Weirdo, 26 months. Let's go. All right. MG Weirdo doesn't like f4 either. That's correct. Incorrect. Now, one of the things, of course, I want to be clear. I'm not criticizing BPOW for not seeing f4 as a mistake. But it would be nice to maybe think about f4 because it is a very committal move. Yeah, and then to think about just the dynamics. And then c5, we want to think about it here, you know, because the knight was going to want to move from b5 anyway, and then it's going to want to go to d5. Now that knight has a great square to go to. Right? There he goes. I could have played knight d5 directly. Okay, so that's a pawns or people moment. Knight d5, good, absolutely correct. So it looks like you saw that idea. And in addition to bishop c3, which I like less, just rook a b1 is a crushing attack, because we're going to nail this bad boy, and that's once the rook lands there, buddy. Whew, too much, too much. So, rook a b1, check to the miserable king. Check to the miserable king. Yep, that's too much, Bows. So, this is a cheap threat. That's a cheap threat. But dude fell for it pretty good, man. He fell for it pretty good. Got him. Got him. All right. So you should definitely have taken on C2 first, right? So we should get a question mark here to yourself. This is just an extra pawn. He's got to move the rook. And then I don't know what we're going to do, but that's the easy one. Just take it. You could play bishop takes c3 too. Yeah, either one. But this way we're up a full pawn compared to the game variation. And now we have a b7 problem. Right? And you were correct that was wrong. That's an ambitious move, d4, to try to shut down your knight. But now you played b5, right? b6. Okay. He's coming for you. Okay. Good. Now e6 for sure, because that was his whole point. Okay. Good move. Okay. Very good. 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 Oh, is it correct? I mean, king f8. King f8 looks good. It scares me to be giving away the pawns like that. The pawns. Okay. Now, I want to stress this game is right on the edge. It should still be winning, but now it's going to require some technique. And then this is a really fancy move. I want to stress b-bow, man. You get way too fancy here, bows. Whoa, whoa. Yeah, you gotta be considering something like rook e4, like rook e1. And then the challenge is, of course, are we gonna win those pawns or not? And I believe in your position, but it's a little hectic. And so now when you get real fancy, now as a default, dude's got rook a8, but maybe rook g8 too. I don't. Why do they not attack the pawns? Check to the miserable. Well, now he's got rook c6, bows. Life just got weird and hard, right? Whoa, what? Okay. Now it's anybody's game, especially from a practical point of view. Okay, good. That was good annotations. That's a good comment, Dawson. That f4 kind of shows what they're interested in, and then it kind of follows through with it. That's absolutely right. Okay, let's do some more. All right, so we just did. That was Timothy and Brett. This is Charlie again. We got some timestamps. Okay, I'm just going to optically look at this one and say, look at those variations without any evals. Now, again, I'm not saying these are horrible annotations. If I don't do it, it's got to be special, right? It's got to be special. Okay, let's think about this for a second. Okay, let's keep going. So that's Crooney. And this is Dragon Tamer. That's a nice name, Dragon Tamer. All right, let's just blaze through this here. We definitely need some annotations here. Desperate. Okay, good. That's very true. E5. Now put a question mark on there. Good. 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 No, that's great, dude. I love h5. That's the true alpha zero move, man. That's the true alpha. How can it be wrong? How can it be wrong? Yeah, that's good, man. H5 is really good. That ain't it, I'll tell you that. Now, H4 directly really was talking to me. H4 directly is like, it's over. There we go. That ain't it. And now we're killing it. Okay, good. All right, that's Dragon Tamer against Crooney. Let's go another one. That's Crooney again. Let's just see. There's Quad EXE again. Let's look. Okay, optically maybe. Let's take a look. Okay. 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 Now, one thing so let's talk about this. Now, of course, this is a theoretical position and yada yada, but the thing that we should say that's suspicious about DC5 is that it allows the black bishop to come out with tempo, right? So like you're making a pawn move, he's making a bishop move. Still, it's interesting. Now, D4. Knight f6 might have been playable. And then on this variation, bishop c5, I assume the big question that black had to worry about was this. But it's an interesting position because after, say, queen b6, you definitely have compensation. Okay, d4. Now knight a4. Queen check. That wasn't it. A shallow move. That's good. That's a very nice annotation. Yeah. Now the problem with the d4 is that knight a4 gives black a little grief in terms of how they want to recapture the pawn. And knight e4, there's the bishop f5 problem, just helping him develop. So we don't put that in there. That's okay. So that's, by the way, so like just in terms of me evaluating, it's not the quality of the moves, it's the quality of the annotations. And so I think that's a great annotation about queen a4. And now we're in trouble, right? Now we're in trouble. Probably worthy to talk about bishop f5 here, right? This cannot be the right move. Well said. Now, I think I understand what dude's grief was. Because what dude saw, though, is on bishop e7, then all of a sudden bishop takes. And if bishop takes, then we have knight d6. So dude is really losing his mind now. So probably bishop f5. Okay, but you did suggest an alternate solution. Now, notice that when he goes for the knight f6 line, he is giving up a tempo because the bishop has to move again. So it would have been worthy to talk about bishop takes f6. Now we got to worry about bishop b4. Uh-oh. No one sees it. No one sees it, Baus. Oh, no. Check to the miserable king. That's game right there. And interestingly, both players are obsessed with knight b4 here. That's a good move. I don't know how you got out of this one, Baus. I don't know how you got out of this one. Uh-oh, that wasn't it. Now, here's the thing, if somebody understands, what is this translating from and how do we get Jack or somebody to fix the translation? There's a translation problem happening. All right, so that's just a blunder. And here, black is obviously doing great, but it is definitely a hectic position where black needs to find an exact move here. Presumably, it's rook c8, but then, you know, bishop f6 is going to come and the party is just starting, right? Now you're killing him. That's got to be a good move, you'd think. And now probably bishop b4 here is what dude needs to do. That's a threat. That wasn't it. Check to the miserable king. Pang. Okay. Now those were good annotations. Look at the raw PGN to see. I can't do it right now. I cannot look at the raw PGN at the moment. It is too much to go look. But I think, I'll tell you what, I think I'm going to add this game. Unless someone says no, Bows. Says no, Bows. Let's think about this. Okay, so the critiques of this would be there's no timestamps. So we have no idea. There are few evaluations. It's pretty good variations, and I like the adjective shallow, because that is truly something that by saying it out loud, there's a really good chance that you're not going to do a move like Queen A4 again. Okay, for the moment, let's feature this game. Pop. By feature, it means that it'll show up in this tab, this recent tab, and then I can go find it later after the show's over. Sorry, let's go back. So it's Kavutskiy against Austenia. Now, Soviet Russia frees you. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Brian Moon, so it looks like he's playing the Soviet side here and lost to a Soviet. Okay. This will be interesting. This is 45 plus 15. Do I have a video on how to annotate well? We have several videos, actually. We have several videos out there. I think one of the nice things about the dojo actually now is we now have this beautiful resource, and it's so great that people are, first of all, it's an art form. It's really important to understand that annotating well is an art form, and it doesn't come immediately, right? But for now, what I'd like to say is just what I've been saying. It's good if we can see some timestamps. Now, of course, this dude is just able to pull it in. That's like magic to me. But you could also write it down. Let's say if you were playing an over-the-board game, you can write down. You don't have to write down every move, but you write it down. Also really good is to have words, adjectives. A lot of these annotations do. Then we want evaluations of given positions. We want evaluations of moves, bad move, funky move, that kind of thing, right? And we want variations. Because one of the things you'll see too when you look at stronger players analyzing this, the more strong people get, the more they get variations in their game. And a lot of low-rated players in our Discord are like, Bows, how come you don't give us more tactics? First of all, we have a lot of tactics. But second of all, it's really important to see the tactics are all in your own games. That's where you should really be working on your tactics, right? So, like for example, in this game, I'm sure we can find a lot of interesting tactics for us to look at. And those variations are going to be the things I'm looking for. So, what makes a good annotation? Put some timestamps, like when did you think? And that'll help explain, like, what did you think the critical moves were? What are some of the evaluations in the position? Even if you don't have a sense, try, and you can do that not just by saying white is better, but you can say, here's the reasons I think white is better. And of course, talking about the position and what's going on. Okay, so here we go. Go back, buddy. Go back. A miserable start. Knight f3 threw me off. Okay. I don't know if it's miserable. And here's why I hate knight c6. Okay, so now we have this called the Chigorin. Totally playable. And at this point, Brian is not allowed to study openings, and he hasn't done anything horrendous. Now, this move, e6, is controversial. And he writes bishop g4 was better. Great notes. Great notes. And so it's important to understand that black is not lost here, but he's got two problems. Now the bishop is poor, and the knight isn't fighting, helping the c-pawn fight for the center. These are pretty good notes so far. All right, so knight f6. They're just developing here. Good. White's playing great moves, just simple, natural moves. And now knight d7. This is too common an error. I assume that white would capture. My move makes sense if white does, but white doesn't need to capture. Bishop moves to f4. Now, let's talk about it on a principled level. It's, of course, a mistake because it's not a developing move. So, he talks about h6, talks about dc4, and good. Good. Now, it would be great if we get some, there are some evaluations. We get knight takes d5, rook fd1. This move's interesting. It's a way to try to break out. Bishop f4, I want to say, that's a quality move because now it just leaves all of black's pieces tangled. Yeah, we're definitely in trouble. Okay, rally the wagons. I have no idea what I was thinking. I know what you were thinking. You're trying to get knight takes d5. And you're bringing your c-pawn in. And white actually, this is white's first move that looks a little suspect to me. It's not terrible, but I'm not super thrilled with this move, c5. Because his advantage is really in time now, development, and c5 is going to close the position. This I don't like. You got to play c6, bows. You got to play c6. c6 followed like by b6. Yeah. And what are we doing there? Okay. Now white needs a good move. I don't understand that move. Okay. So, good. Probably reasonable. Is this correct, Namundo? Where are we here? Queen a2. Knight e7. This move was a loss of nerve. I think I felt like I was losing far worse than I was. The opening didn't go the way I wanted, and I was in a sour mood. This led me to ignoring ef3 out of fear. These are good notes. I was worried about the open g file as he was infiltrating, but I overestimated the risk. Okay. Now, and one of the things actually is really good about this is an emotional analysis that happens to everybody. And the issue here is that there's like a hangover effect because dude was, had the bad opening, felt terrible about it. Now he's winning, and now, does this 97 move without thinking. He has been using his time, right? So that's not, but this is the moment to spend a second. And what we're going to guess is not only did he underestimate ef3, but he missed that after 97, bishop takes e4, and we're in big trouble. I don't understand a4. White, by the way, this happens all the time, and I talked about this in the video that's going to come out in a day or two. People playing online, they're not thinking at all. So this dude who's playing white, the Soviet guy, he's distracted, and he's playing it like a blitz game, Good. We still have every practical chance here. I don't like that. That can't be it. Let's play knight f5, Bobs. Come on. That ain't it. That ain't it. Okay. And basically you're getting cooked on time here as well. Like he's pressing you and then you're losing your mind. And it's not easy. White should have played queen c2 earlier just so they stopped knight f5. Okay. Those are pretty good notes, dude. That's pretty good. There's a kind of like one thing we could just say about it is there's a kind of sadness that creeps in. There's a sadness that creeps in both in the game, obviously, and in the moves. Like, for example, this position here. When you say it's not a great move, well, let's hear what a better move would have been, right? Let's try to figure out what a better move would have been. And it's obviously not an easy position. You know, this one, it's not an easy call about what to do. A mildly constructive proposal might be to play queen d7 followed by knight f5. You got to get your dudes out. Okay, but that's pretty good annotations right there. All right, let's feature that game. So far I've got 2. Okay. All right, good. Let's go back. And then that was Brian, the Soviet. That was the Soviet. Now this dude, Skoker, he, Screezem, he graduated fairly recently, and I looked at one of his games. So I believe this is going to be from Black's point of view. Okay. Bishop f4, a6. Okay. I think I looked at this game, honestly. Yeah, I looked at this game. Not a bad game, but I looked at. Oberlis, I might have, got some of these games I've looked at. I know I've looked at some of Oberlis's games. Let's go take a look at Oberlis. Drogheda, Chess Conquest. Does anyone know where Drogheda is? Good. Going for the basics of opening theory. Knights before bishops. Very good. Now, there's a trick here, and that we should just be aware of, that knight takes e4 is a dirty thing that is the reason most people won't play bishop c4 here. It's not the end of the world. You know, we get this position. But okay, white's not aware and black isn't either. And knight e4 is probably even a touch stronger than it was on the move before. Okay, good. Slow. All right, there you go, buddy. There you go. Now, this is worthy of thinking about because black's not actually being a complete idiot here. This is a standard plan of counterattack, and one of the problems with the bishop on c4 is vulnerable not only to the d5 trick, but this b5 thing, where dude will get a little counterplay. Now, this is not criticizing the notes, though. I understand white does. There's certain things white doesn't get. Now, bishop d7 is a mistake because we don't want to do it unless we absolutely have to, and it's an example of what we call releasing the tension. There's no need to, because if dude ever takes, like in this note, what we say is the queen has arrived at the wedding here, right? We want the queen over there. We need that queen in there. Let's get her in, bows. All right, so this happens. Okay, good. Good. Now b4 is a threat. Okay, now what's weird about this? Okay, so he misses knight takes e4. So it should be said that h4 is probably a mistake, right? And so the moves, plural, to consider would be e5 and some kind of protection of e4. And so this is likely a mistake here. And we should call BA also a mistake because it's activating your rook. Oh, that wasn't it. Did he find it? Check to the miserable king. Sorry, Liam. Sorry, Liam, buddy. Okay, these are pretty good notes. Okay, so these are pretty good notes, dude. Now, it would have been nice to have some times in here and maybe some more evaluations. What do you guys think? Should I do this one? While you guys are telling me if I should pick this one, I'm going to go look up where Drogheda is. Drogheda. Town in the Republic of Ireland. Okay, there we go. Let's click on Drogheda. An industrial and port town in County Louth on the east coast of Ireland. Oh, there we go, man. There we go. I bet it's rainy there all the time. You'd think the Irish would be better at chess, dude, but you know, sitting inside all day, raining. Okay. Okay, good. Let's do another one of these. I'm just going to take my time with this. So that was Oberlist-Chinatsky. This is Krooney again. We've looked at some of Krooney's game. Der Dichter und Denker. Let's do Stand the Man for a second. So this is Stand the Man. These are Stan's annotations. E4. Okay, look at that. Now that's the kind of annotation I'm looking for, honestly. Yeah. E5 is common. Good. Fine. Good. 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 I've played this opening 26 times with a 31% win rate. I was really just looking for a draw. H6 is an inaccuracy. Now, what we would want is a question mark there, but I get it. He's basically giving it the question mark here. Yeah, so it would be good to say what black should have done. Now, at this level, they lose time all the time because they're afraid of things like knight g5, and so they lose time. Now, d4 is good, but castles is also good, correct. And now you play d4, right, Baus? Ooh, this move is an accuracy. Yep, that's right. Boom. Now, these are starting to look like computer notes. This is an inaccuracy. Bishop b6 was best. Yeah, this isn't clear to anybody. This isn't clear to anybody, Baus. No, it's not clear. Okay. D3 is excellent. Okay, this is. I'm not going to look. It's clearly, dude, this is an example of poor annotations. Dude is using the computer instead of their mind, instead of figuring out what's going on in the position. Let's see what Oberlist does against Der Dichter und Denker. So Oberlist is going to be black. Up until this point, all known Caro-Kann moves. Okay. Good. I didn't like h6. See, at this level, they're terrified. They're terrified, man. You put your knight on e7 so you can develop it, Baus. Now go ahead and develop her. Develop that knight, Baus. Okay. So yeah, knight f5. It's a one-move threat, like you said, but Baus, you got to get your guys out. They got to come out. So CD is a poor move, an example of releasing the tension. Now we got okay, knight g6, probably could play knight f5 too. Hard to imagine what that move's about. That ain't it. That ain't it. Because now we have knight takes d5, Baus. So both players are missing knight takes d5 here, right? Okay, good. Let's go to the next game. If you don't know what I'm doing here, I am doing a model game hunt for the Chess Dojo database. If you know of any good games in the 11 to 1200 cohort, I'm finding 4 of them, and then I'm going to move on. Now, Charlie, you can see Charlie's done several games here. We're going to say no. There's no annotations here, Charlie. There's no annotations, mouse. Okay, next, there's Crudy again. Gerald Ernesto, I remember this dude has done another one that actually made it to the database. This one's mildly interesting. I don't like that it's so fast, and I guess they're allowed to do it this fast. Let me just admit, I helped design which time controls, me and Kostya and David had to agree, which time controls you could use when, but I don't always remember because I'm a boomer. Anyways, this feels very fast. Too fast. You'd spend more time looking at the game than you did actually playing it. Okay. Crooney. I think that's Brian again. What you're seeing is it's largely the same people here. Right? I think this is Brian here. Brian Moon. Let's try this again. What does that little sign mean, knight f3? What is that little... dc4. Queen's gum decline, 3 knights, Vienna variation. Okay. Yeah, I think this is a little... I don't know, buddy. It looks mostly fine. You could have taken with the queen there. See, and you're saying you're slightly better. You know? It's hard for me to follow these notes. We're also playing at breakneck speed here. All right, boom. Let's go back. All right, I want to find somebody new here for a second. My name is Lucas. That's what I know. That's the Korean I know. Is that Lucas? I am Nita means my name is Lucas in Korean. See, I can speak Korean. Okay. All right, good notes. Does this accomplish anything? No, it doesn't. You're right. And good. Basically, that's a good characterization there, too, with the question mark exclam. And black should probably play something like Queen E7. And that's definitely a poor move. Taking on C3 is. 95. May have been better to finish kingside development. Okay, I totally agree with you. Yeah. And dude is thinking. He spent 3 minutes there. Notice, too, it might be good to just say it, is that when you play knight e5, you let black trade off their bad knight on b8. Weakening move when I am not castled. Let's read this note here. By the way, f3, it looks wrong. Well, yeah, it looks wrong, but maybe, maybe you could do it. Let's read this note about Stefan. Stefan and I are both in the program and friendly, and he messaged me that this was a misclick. I have takebacks turned off, but I don't want a long game swinging in an unintended move. So moves 12 and 13 are an agreed reset to prior position. Okay, interesting. Okay, wait a second. This is a jumble of notes here. It's a little bit hard for me to see. So, bishop g3. What are we saying here? Oh, okay. So that's how they reset it. Dude was like, queen h4 was a misclick. You know what I'm gonna say? First of all, I'm gonna call BS. Stefan, I'm calling BS on you, Baus. That wasn't a misclick. You thought that queen h4 was losing a piece to g3, and it might. And then what's weird is I'm not sure Lucas understands that he was winning. That's the danger. Now, does black have something fancy here? Maybe, but I'm not sure. I'm not sure there's something fancy. We would have to look. Now, queen e7 ain't it, because then you just lost your business, right? Now, maybe even then it's still complicated. Pop, pop, and then if bishop f4, we got g5. I believe in white, because we can give up the bishop in a variety of ways, but this was the big question. So I think he pulled your leg here, Baus. There's no misclick. There's no if he had played queen g5 and then said it was a misclick, he wanted because he wanted queen h4, then that's a little bit more understandable. But queen h4 is not a misclick, my friend. That's intentional. So, let's go back. So they reset it, and then dude wants f6, which is a little bit more interesting. Now we have a big choice here. You did that. Okay. Also not done. Okay. These are some good notes. That looks poor. Because the knight, we need to get rid of that strong bishop. The dark square bishop is too powerful. I played bishop g3 assuming he would play it this way. Maybe he didn't like the open file for the rook. I was considering castling in a couple moves, thinking now that follow-up of king e2, king f2 might be just as safe and allow that rook to continue to dominate the h file. This is something you see often where people at this level are terrified of the open rook file. And yes, it's a little frightening, but this with the bad knight is even worse. And the bishop on g3, look at this thing. This thing's a god. Look at that. That's a god. All right, so here. Now queen c2, please. No. Now I'm worried. Something dramatic is going to happen. Maybe it's not so bad. Thank you very much. That wasn't it. Well, okay. Let's give it a shot. All right, so g6. Okay. But now that's a mistake because you could have now played queen b3 and you're winning a pawn. You was winning a pawn. So it's interesting that dude is not seeing a lot of this stuff. Also with rook c8, the Stefan here is not thinking about instant moves, These are good notes, and it's interesting that he's trusting Stefan. He's trusting Stefan in a number of ways. First, he trusted in the queen h4 was a misclick, definitely not a misclick. And then number two, he trusts him on both, on this rook c8 move. That's a frisky move, Baus, but you just lost your big old center pawn. Thank you very much. Give me that pawn. Okay, so here, and now you go for it with e4. Yeah, and one thing, okay, look, and dude gets a different approach about what he could have done. Great, dude. These are good notes. This is good notes. Rook e8 was also a problem, yeah. Good. Good. And black just doesn't care. He doesn't care about his pawns. F1 was taking the b pawn a better path. It felt dubious in the game, and I was not able to calculate a line where it felt comfortable. But looking now, it seems like maybe it works. These are great notes, dude. That can't be right. Adds a fourth attacker to the e pawn, but loses the game. Now, can we talk about something? Right, he's saying bishop c4 doesn't work yet. Correct. And then, bam! Now, Stefan had a moment here. It didn't last that long. But Stefan had a moment where he's like, maybe I can get a misclick. Maybe I can get a misclick, Baus. Misclick. Now bishop d5 is definitely a mistake because now we're gonna win a full. Well, okay, no, I guess it's all over anyway. So this happens, game over. And then dude finish. Whoa, what happened? How? I'm just gonna click down here. Okay, we're still within the realm of like we're finishing him off. White wins by checkmate. Fun game where my slow kingside development made things nervy early on. Great word. E-pawn push opened up tactics for both sides. Recognizing the potential queen pin before it happened made a simple tactic hard to miss. Post-analysis, computer analysis. Most of our blunders were the manual take-back operation after Stefan misclicked. One chance I missed was queen b3, creating a nice defense of the d pawn. Okay, dude, I'm gonna feature that game. That's nice, dude. All right, so we need one more, I believe, from this cohort. So let's look. That's Brian again. There's Gerald again. Let's just see if we get somebody new. Let's look at Jan. Could be on. We never know. Okay. So this looks like a USCF game. May month long. Maybe like a weekly thing or something. Okay. Mildly plausible. No timestamps, but it looks like an over-the-board game. So let's get into it. And, oh, this is BPOW again. This is BPOW. I missed that my e-pawn was undefended. Pop! No, he missed it too. So did white. Okay, good. Good. Fine. Controversial. Yeah, that was your good bishop mouse, but okay. Okay. B5's a nice move. Good explanation. Good move. We could talk about rook a d8 here as well, but okay. Good move. Probably poor. I think white's intention would be to get the dark square bishop to g3 to help with the attack, but it's too slow. Black would need to make some waiting moves. So definitely we need what else you think you should do, and the real controversy of bishop h4, which is, hey, is the bishop gone forever? Right? So probably bishop e3. c5, good move. A little frisky. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. That ain't it. That's a good move. Bam! Take that. Now, it's not actually over yet because of rook takes d4. Now, one of the things that's actually fascinating about this is queen takes g3 looks like a winner. But if we imagine that our bishop on d4 is better than their bishop on g3, then we shouldn't do it, right? Because it's just going to be a straight-up trade unless we have something amazing after queen g3, rook d4. Okay. Those are pretty good notes, though. I think one of the things we're seeing is that games that are USCF, people aren't putting the timestamps in. And mild criticisms here we could do with more, like let's say d4. We know why you're saying it's a mistake because dude's losing a pawn. But you should say, well, what should dude have done? You know, probably something like queen e2. Right? Okay. And this one isn't necessarily a mistake. I mean, if he doesn't take the pawn, he's having big suffering. And here, white just needs to see that rook takes d4 is on the table. And I guess you have a small advantage after rook takes d4, but it's honestly still going to be a little tricky. Yeah. Okay, good. Let's feature this game. And again, something I want to stress about the featurings of the games is my dream for this with the cohort games is I want to put these things up, but then I want eventually it to be about the people in the cohort selecting which annotations they feel are the best. That's my dream. But for now, I'm just trying to get the cohort up. You know, just we have the database there. Yeah. Sam is here, beloved bookkeeper. Go check out our YouTube videos. Today, I'm doing the cohort model game search. And now I'm going to take a small pause. And when I come back, we're going to look at games for 1200 to 1300. So I'll be right back.
Welcome to Dojo.
Check out Joe, he's a Reddit bro, likes to edit posts, and he starts to gloat when he gets the most of votes or likes. Yeah, he's really hyped, really psyched, cause the crowd is really tight and the work is really light. His training plan is the first thing your eyes see, cause he got more follows than my boy Aragaisi. Opinions on Magnus, Hans, and Karyakin, who cheated who, which engine did he hacking. He got blocked by Short, ignored by Dvorak, but he can't be wrong, he scored a like from Truan. He's got lightning attacks on GM blunders and gaffes, true not over the board, it's only the other chat. Still his 7-year plan ensures the last laugh. Distractions detract from any actual actions. Excuses are useless, he rues his inaction. Awaits satisfaction, the status of Magnus. He bought 50 books and opened up 10. Fools ought to read Psalms, not my system. He's got 30 alt accounts on every site around. Chessable courses keep looking cheaper by the pound. He got 22 databases and 36 engines, 25 chess sets, and a massive clock collection. He bought merch from Gotham, Bra and Naka, but his game history looked like some chess copy pasta. A GM coach that he don't listen to, and if you think it is, then yes, my friend, yes, this is you. But that all changed one bright sunny day when a friend said, hey, don't you know, welcome to the dojo, it's good to grow. Welcome to the dojo, I gave up on the easy. Sweatwork's what we need, G. Sweatwork's what I believe, waiting's what I'll receive. Don't you know, welcome to the dojo, it's good to grow. Welcome to the dojo, I stepped away from easy. Sweatwork's what we need, G. If sweatwork's what I believe, waiting's what I'll receive. So Joe got into the business, stopped the app sickness, daily practice his rhythm, he even upped his fitness. He found sparring cathartic, postmortems charming. With the plus equal minus, he was armed for elo farming. With notepad and pen, he built up calluses, escape rating paralysis with lengthy game analysis. With sensei direction, he sold his collection. Read one classic and that was fantastic. Now he locked to the spot where they checking off boxes. Young prodigies and some wily old foxes. 3.5 points per box, that's shocking progress. Goal nearing, cohort cheering, Joe doesn't hear it. He's monotasking, no relaxing, concentration maxing. One book, one board, one set, one thought. Work will work will work, work never stop. One book, one board, one set, one thought. Work will work will work, work never stop. Now occasionally he peeps the world of the tweet and laughs when he sees the player that he used to be. Blank face staring.
Oh, that's not it, Baus. There it is. Okay, so now we're going to go 1200, 1300. I also need 4 games for this one. Okay. One thing I realized is maybe I can get Kostya to put up a Discord channel for model game nominations. In fact, let's do that right now. Let's go Kostya Kost. And we'll say Baus. Can we get a channel for Dojo model game nominations? As I said, I'm happy to do this. It's hopefully instructive for people to see kind of, I don't know, what good annotations are. But more importantly, I think the people in the cohorts themselves will have a better sense of what they think are really good games. So, Kraai, 1200, 1300, buddy. Pop. Search. I go search. This thing is amazing. Okay, so this is organized by date. Let's get into it. That ain't it. There's no annotations here, bows. And then look at this. This is a computer. Somebody put their computer in here. Now maybe I need a button. Jack. This is our Jack, our coder dude. Can I get a way to flag a game? I don't want to necessarily, but yeah, this is not it. That isn't it. This is not helping anybody. Look at this. Blunder. Bishop C1 was best. Blunder. No. Okay. So let's do this. Let's also ask, and can we institute a flag for truly bad annotations, i.e. for when we see a game with nothing or with computer dribble, question mark. This flag would just tell the submitter that they should consider redoing their game. All right, this is my constructive suggestion for the day. Okay. So let's go back. Pop, that wasn't it. Carl, what do we got? This is Real Raptor. I recognize Real Raptor. Real Raptor's been around for a while. And again, sometimes I'm not reading the Twitch chat because Jerry McDonald graduated. Can I sneak onto this episode? I'll definitely do you next Monday, bud. We'll definitely cover some of your business next Monday. But thank you for being here. Yeah. All right, here we go. So, Pop, my plan against the Alapin. I have a feeling this is dealing with Real Raptor is black. Is to not allow the pawn c3 to recapture. Okay. Good. Okay, that's very good notes, actually. Right? Dude is talking about playing against the knight on b1. Fine. Knight b6 is also a move. Fine. And what good? Well said about the French. Fine. Doing great, dude. Focus on castling. Good. And that's probably playable. This surprised me and must be dubious. This is white's good bishop, and thematically in a structure with pawn e5, the bishop sack on h7 is commonly effective. It liberates bishop c8. In a restricted structure, an exchange of minor pieces favors the defender. Okay. I think that mostly, I don't know if it's horrendous. In fact, he does not give it a horrendous mark. He just gives it a funky move mark. You know, not a full question mark. And one of the nice things that he is understanding, the best thing I like about his notes so far is he's really understanding that this knight is poor. And now when you trade your good pieces, the bad pieces become magnified. So, Pop. I don't like bishop g4 because then dude could play snip and then with a check. So I actually think I like castles best. But okay, d, fine. 95, let's castle, baby. Nice. The knight looks menacing but achieves little. Black has to castle. The two bishops in center should give a black a small edge. Okay. Now, one thing that's common for this level of play is that they don't appreciate that their knight is bad, right? So here, knight d2 should come to mind. And f6, you're scratching at that knight, mouse. You're scratching at that knight. I don't know if we need to scratch so hard. You know? Don't scratch that itch too much. It's probably okay, though. Let's give it a pass. I think it's okay. Pop, pop. Good. It fixes knight. Not bad for a bad bishop. This guy's notes are great, man. Now, it's important to say, of course, right, that the bishop, the light square bishop, is unopposed. So black has huge dreams of winning the battle of the light squares. Good. That looks like a cheap trick. How about queen d7? Ooh, I don't like it. Establishes an outpost for the b and further restricts the knight from b3. Maybe I do like it. Maybe I do like it. I don't know. Let's. Okay, let me just explain why I didn't like it just in the first glance. Is in general, when we got the b's like this, we want to open the position. And so a standard play could be this kind of thing. c4, it's interesting. I also don't know, I'm not 100% that the bishop landing on d3 is such a big thing, right? Okay, but I'm not complaining about the notes. The notes are great. And now dude does get too ambitious. That ain't it. And make c4 look smart. Yeah. So it would be good in terms of the annotations if we said what white should do. And to me, logical is to play either rook e3 and then this rook over, or knight f1, intending to fix the knight to either g3 or e3, right? So I like knight f1 best on principle. Get that knight fixed. Okay. Good move. Uh-oh. Got him. Got him. Okay. Tactically, the rook will be embarrassed here. Dude, Real Raptor, these are good notes, man. These are good notes. Yeah. Good. And now we have to decide if we want to be ambitious with queen. In fact, let's say here that queen f7 was probably better. So that on queen e2, he's not talking to your c4 pawn. But you're still doing great. And you sack the pawn. It does actually make a lot of sense because now... Oh! I thought you were going to play queen d5. So let me just say, we want to play queen d5 because not only will we get the queens off, but we will force a trade of rooks as well. And after that, it'll be very difficult for white to prevent our rook from infiltrating. Further, with king h8, now our king is not going to be part of the battle. But maybe I should like mellow out, huh? Maybe I should mellow out. I'm going to mellow out. I take it all back. Okay, Real Raptor? I take it all back. You're going to take the pawn to g4. You're killing the fool. I see it, and I always go for some endgame. You're just taking him down. You're just ending this dude right away. Look at these. There you go. Check to the miserable. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Okay, that was a great annotation, my friends. In fact, of the day, that was the best one so far. That was great, dude. Okay, so we're going to feature that, and I need 3 more from this cohort. Let me go back and check with chat. Again, I'm not religiously checking chat here. So I promise after every game I'll come take a look. Belgian dude. Nice, dude. Belgian dude is here at the dojo, helped us develop a lot of stuff in Dojo 1.0. What are we up to? We are looking for, part of Dojo 2.0 is that we have model games. So every cohort has 5 games which are well annotated. So when you ask yourself, what does a good annotation look like in my cohort? Not from some GM annotation. What does it look like in my cohort? That you then have that database to look at. And I've been a little slow filling them out. It is an enjoyable experience. And so I'm just taking my time with it. And we're up to 1,200 now. And I have some games beyond that too, but I'm trying to get religious now, partly because of this amazing database that we now have in our possession that's very navigable for me here. Okay, let's look. Pop. This is I Am Hector. Okay, so black. Nice strategic game on the black side, an Italian with d3. A blunder from my opponent allowed me to take away castling ranks, weaken the position. One thing that's interesting about these pre-game narratives is a lot of times I have students and they give me a narrative like that, and then we look at the game, it's not true, but it's still good to have the narrative and then check whether that narrative stands up. So this looks like 60 plus 30. Now, N is usually a sign for novelty, but there's no way that knight c3 is a novelty. So maybe N stands for something else. I don't know. Knight d5. Now, in terms of good annotations, it would be good to say why we don't like knight d5, right? I've seen a couple games at this level get this position, and in fact, you know, this is just one of the classic positions of all time here. And it's hard to know what white is supposed to do. And here white's kind of losing their mind with knight d5 because they're moving to develop piece twice, right? Okay, so pop. Exchanging the dark square bishop for the light square bishops. Both bishops are equally good to the white center pawns being on light squares and blacks on dark squares. Okay. I mostly agree with that, but the disagreement is that when white takes that bishop was just worse than your bishop. And look at that, boom, you get a developing move. Thank you very much. Okay. People are obsessed. They're obsessed. Okay, white black is both sides, dude. Okay, so I did this video, it's going to come out in a day or two, about how adults are playing way too fast. I say adults because it used to be, before we had the chess boom, that the people moving too fast were the kids at scholastic tournaments. It was like the bane of all coaches. Now we're getting adults like this dude playing white. Boom, 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 boom. They think it's super simple or something, right? Obviously it's not. And dude is playing so fast that they've got more time. They're playing more than a blitz game. Like, I'm playing a bullet game here. And I like what dude's saying about the light square bishop. A little bit funky. That's a good annotation with the funkiness. Okay. Now that's a poor move. And white is just playing instantly. Look at that. Thank you very much. Check the miserable king. So far, by the way, the narrative that black had at the beginning is definitely holding up. And I like the annotation of clearly worse for white. Probably lost in a, objective sense, or whatever you want to call it. But still, great annotation. Pop! Very good, dude. Good annotation. Good. Good. Seeing g4 and going for it anyways, as I had calculated. g4, queen h, gf, rook f5, seeing that the pin is hard to defend against, and I may regain the piece. I saw this position as Andra says, if g4 is a valid defense for white, then chess would be an unfair game. Okay. Dude does play g4. These are great notes, by the way. This is interesting. Is 3 defenders of the knight enough? I can't see the win, but white's pieces are so tied up, black should be winning. g5, queen h2. Now, queen h2 isn't it because of rook takes f3. Interesting. So, it's funny, he still believes in himself in this position. He should, but on queen h2, it is absolutely right. We have to figure this out, and dude is missing rook takes f3 with the winning position. Okay. Let me just stress, tactics are all in our own positions. One of the things I also said in the video was that if you think and your opponent isn't thinking, the competitive advantage is just absolutely crushing. This fool, he's not thinking at all, baby. Give me your business. Yeah, why don't you just resign, buddy? Huh? Why are you not resigning? Thank you very much. 53 minutes the guy has. Give me a break, you fish. You chump. Let's feature this game, Hector. Good job, buddy. That was some good notes. Uh-oh, internal server error. Sometimes I gotta refresh. No, sign in with Google. Where's Hector Bows? Did I lose Hector? 12 to 1300. Let's go. Search. Oh, internal server error. Oh, man. Let's try this again. Games. Internal server error. All right, I don't know. Let's just open up a new one and see what happens here. All right, now, Bows. Let's try that again. Internal server error. I don't know, man. Jack, what's going on, Bows? Internal server error. Ooh, that is frustrating. Let me open it up in a different tab and see if that's somehow the problem. Nope, I'm having an issue. Well, my friends, I'm breaking things again. Well, guys, I don't know. I'm getting an issue from my tissue over here. It doesn't seem I got an error. All right, let's. I don't know, man. Okay. Let's just see what's happening here. All right, let's try this again. Maybe I figured it out. No, internal server error. Well, I'm gonna try one more time here. Nope. Well, guys, maybe that's the end of El Streamo.